Hi everyone, good morning. I would like to use these classes to learn the laws, the halachot of kibud av ve'em, honoring your father and mother. And as well, there's another halacha, which is mipnei seva takum, which is to stand up for an elderly person. And perhaps we'll get to that as well. And to focus on honoring our parents and honoring the elderly. And I'd like to share with you why I think it's a good idea for us to study these laws now. There are many lessons that we can learn from what's going on now. To me, number one is the idea that no one really could have imagined this. We see how Hashem can flex his muscle and bring the entire world to its knees. World powers, superpowers, everyone is crawling, and everyone is crawling from something that came from left field. No one ever thought about something like this. No one ever dreamt for something like this. No one ever prepared for something like this. All the world powers are worried about nuclear disarmament, all other building up your army, etc. Technology, using technology in warfare, but the idea that a little biological bug, germ, or whatever it is, can bring the entire civilized and uncivilized world to its knees is shocking. And we see clearly Hashem running the world. And that is important, very important lesson, and that's something we need to see and to take that in. But that's only one of the lessons, and there are a few more lessons that are important for us to see, and I'll get to why I'd like to learn the laws of honoring our parents and standing up and honoring the elderly as well. We learned something else as well, and that is we live in a time of globalization where everybody is flying all around the world. We live in a global economy where we go online and we interface and interact with people sitting at a desk on the other side of the globe, and we're buying products from all over the world, and it's the same click of a button, and you don't know if the person is next door to you or the person is thousands of miles away. It doesn't matter. We live in a global world, and it gives us a certain, a certain rush, a certain sense of power, this global world that we're in. Wow, we could fly anywhere, we could travel anywhere, we can connect with anyone over the internet, we could buy something at any time of day and night, sitting anywhere. It's a tremendous power rush. And today we are seeing the downside of this, because 100 years ago, had there been some kind of a virus like this in China, it would have stayed in China. And if it would have traveled very, very slowly. Today, because we live in a global world, it's impossible for us to seal our borders. It's impossible for us to create walls around ourselves. And we see a little bit the downside of this globalization. And that's another lesson that we can learn. I think an additional lesson, a third lesson that we could take out from this is Hashem seems to want us all to be in our homes now. He doesn't want us running around, doing, making more and more money, working here, running there, doing this, doing that. To slow down, stop doing, and start being. We identify ourselves, and we attach our value to what we do in a day and what we accomplish in a day. Oh, I accomplished a lot today. And that is how we will identify, and that's what we attach our importance to. And perhaps we have to take a second look at that. It's not about how much we did and accomplished, but who we are, what we are, our connection to Hashem. Each and every one of us is deeply connected to Hashem, And that's something that we can all build on and work on, our connection to Hashem and our connection to our family, our connection to our home, to internalize and to live a more internal way of life, not an external way of life where we identify ourselves with the outside world. Stay home, connect with your family, connect with Hashem, and connect with yourself, and recognize that what we are is not how much we accomplish out there. It's not. But it's it's our connection to Hashem, and really our connection to our family and our connection to ourselves. When a person is going to pass on to the next world, and he's going to be judged on his chesed, on his kindness, I believe the great Harav Chaim Vital said, all the kindness that he did with the world outside of his home will not measure up at all with the kindness that he did inside his home. Meaning, all the organizations and everything that we run outside, which people see, is not going to measure up against who we really are in our homes. How we interact with our families, how we interact with ourselves, and how we interact with Hashem. And all that is what we can keep doing right now when we're home. We can continue to interact with Hashem. We can continue to interact with ourselves. And we can, of course, continue to interact with our family. We're not what the outside world sees us as, but we are really what we are. Our connection to Hashem and the chesed and the kindness that we do with our family and how we connect ourselves. But there's another lesson here. And this brings me to the point of why I would like to learn the laws of Kibud Av V'Em, honoring your parents and honoring the elderly. And that is, this virus does not attack young people. And from what we see as a general rule, even though recently there was a tragedy with a child, sadly, but as a general rule, it seems it's only the elderly and the unwell that are really at risk of serious harm. So all the precautions that we are taking are really not for our own safety, but for the safety of the elderly, the safety of our parents, of our grandparents. So therefore, I'd like to focus these classes on the laws of Kibud Av V'Em, honoring our parents and honoring the elderly as well. The first law, the very beginning of Kibud Av V'Em, when you open a Shulchan Aruch, the Shulchan Aruch, the Bet Yosef, writes a very interesting expression. Generally, we know the Shulchan Aruch doesn't tell us musar. It's not a book of ethics, it's not a book of inspiration, but Shulchan Aruch is strictly a book of laws. And he doesn't tell us what will happen to us if we do this mitzvah. He doesn't tell us, God forbid, what will happen to us if we sin. He just tells us the mitzvot, the obligations, and the isurim, the laws. Here, by Kibud Av V'Em, he starts off by saying that a person has to be extremely careful with the mitzvah of Kibud Av V'Em. And it's very odd. Why is he doing that? Why does he start off with that term? The Rambam as well, when he starts off the laws of Kibud Av V'Em, he takes the time to talk about the importance of this mitzvah, which is uncharacteristic. And I'll read you the exact term from the Rambam. Kibud Av V'Em mitzvat aseh gedola. It's a great mitzvah. And Bet Yosef says, Shulchan Aruch says, it's something we have to be very careful with. This is uncharacteristic for both the Rambam and both the Shulchan Aruch. And for us, we have to take heed to that this is obviously something that is extremely, extremely important. And hopefully in the future lessons, we'll discuss the importance and we'll get into the practical laws. All the best. Have a good day.